What you looking at, punk? I think it's time for another fountain pen shootout. And today we'll be having a look at two pens. Guys, we had this one coming. Lamy Safari versus Hero Summer Color. The Safari is an extremely popular pen, and many people start with this pen as a first fountain pen. I guess that's implied by the expression start. But you know, it's a first pen for many people. It's affordable, it's easy to maintain, you can use cartridges, converters, widely available, many colors, a lot of different stuff, nib options from extra fine to broad, and then even 1.1, 1.5, and 1.9 millimeter stubs, or well, italics, even though those are a bit harder to obtain sometimes. Very interesting pen. And then you have the Hero Summer Color. You can see it's the same pen. I have separate reviews of these two pens on my channel if you want more information on either of them. But as a comparison, the pens are pretty much identical. The differences that I'll point out are at the top. So at the top end, let me focus there. Top of the cap, you see that this is the old style Safari with a little cross, and the Hero has a type of flower thing going on there. Now that's the difference, and the difference is in the well, the cross section, I suppose, of both pens. As you can see, my black Safari is flat on both sides, whereas the Hero Summer Color is flat there and round there. Apart from that, they're pretty much the same pen, down to every last detail. So if you look at the sections, you get the black rubber O-ring, you get the faceted grip sections, you even get a very similar nib design. The only thing is that the Safari nibs are very easy to take off, and I had a lot of trouble getting off that Hero nib. I just couldn't do it, because as soon as I tried to take it off, I just pull out the whole feed. And I've tried a lot. I guess with a pair of pliers you can do it, but let's not go there. So that really isn't that much to compare, because the two of them are just identical pens. They feel exactly the same. Give a Lamy expert this pen, blindfold him, well, actually blindfold him, then give him the pen. He will not be able to tell it's not a Safari unless he feels that rounded off bit, but just from the section you don't feel any difference. So let's not get into the whole discussion of should this be condoned or not. Yes, it's a knockoff. Yes, it's very blatant. Yes, it's very obvious. But we've had that discussion in my review of this pen. Question is, which of the two is better? Well, take a guess. In my experience, the Lamy is just smoother. I put a medium nib on there, it's just smoother. It's that simple. This is a fun pen, it's a lot of fun to use, but this pen has something that the nib has, something that Safari doesn't have. So we're going to see that in the writing sample. First I'll show you how to disassemble them, then I ink them up, then I'll do a writing sample, then we get to draw a conclusion about which of these pens we like best. And that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful. Whoops, I shouldn't do this kind of stuff. But anyway, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Alright, so a very quick disassembly. Of course, I've got the disassembly line now, but for now I'll just do it here quickly. You take the cap off the Safari. You get this nice converter, which is easy to disassemble. You put the piston about halfway through, and then you just grab it here and these two bits, and you can just slide that ring off. Don't squeeze it, it's metal, you can deform it. You just pull out the whole piston, take this out, put a bit of silicone grease there and around the piston seal for smooth operation. And then you should be fine, it should be easy to just clean out that ink reservoir. Pop that back on there. Now this is a little bit harder to get out. You can just slide the nib off. If you've done it a couple of times, it gets easier. If it doesn't work, you put a bit of scotch tape on there, or you can use a rubber eraser, or you can use all kinds of stuff. Something that I really like to use is a type of grippy material that you line kitchen drawers with or put under your carpet. That makes it really easy to just pull out that nib, and then the feed. Be careful because it is pretty thin plastic, but you can grab it and just pull it out. Now, First of all, notice that it is a two-part feed, so don't lose this part or your pen will leak. And secondly, when you're putting this back in place, really notice these grip facets. Okay, notice them and notice that they go up. Right, so you got two of those, they go up, and the feed should point upwards. Now be very careful because there is a slot in there. It's very difficult to show you. Let me just grab a small torch, maybe that can make it a little bit easier to see. In there, you see that? I don't know how well you can see that there are two grooves that end. You should really make sure that this ridge slides in there. Okay? Otherwise, you will push it in halfway, you may never get it out again. That happened to me once, and I seriously had to buy a whole new pen. So, be careful when you do that. I'm putting that back together. Now we have that summer color. Roughly speaking, same thing. So you just take out the converter. You got the metal ring. You got the piston. Just pull it out. Exact same thing as I've just shown you for the Safari. It looks a little bit different, but it's the exact same mechanics. And be careful, there is a little slot there in the ink reservoir, but I don't believe there's anything in the piston housing that actually has a groove for that, or a ridge for that, I should say. So that operates smoothly, you're done, and then you got the nib and feed there, which you can just pull out, although it's not the easiest thing to do, so here I'm going to use my grippy material too. And then you've got your feed. Which looks a bit like a Safari feed, but it's not really interchangeable, I believe, although we're here now, baby. Up, there we go. Alright, here we got that summer. Oh, look at that. You can sort of fit it in. Whether that's really going to write and not leak, I'm not sure, because it feels a little loose in there, but who knows. And then I guess this should be a little tight. Yeah, that just won't fit. I'm not going to force that in there. Alright, so we got that. Now, separating the nib from the feed, it must be possible. But let me take another bit of that grippy stuff. I really have not been successful up to this point, and I don't really want to take a pair of pliers to this. No, it's really difficult. I think you may. It seems to be very tight. You may actually have to just grab this with pliers and then pull the whole thing off. I'm not going to go that far right now. Okay, so we got these bits. Whoops. There we go. Lamy Hero. I think that's it. Now we just need to grab us some ink. I burn through Waterman Florida Blue like there's no tomorrow. That's really an ink that I blast through. I've only had this bottle for maybe 2 or 3 months and it's already half gone. I try to use it for the shootouts, etc., to give it a neutral ink, right? Okay, well, 2 inked up pens. Whoops. I think it's time for a writing sample. Okay, so here we go with, on the one hand, the Lamy Safari in medium, and the ink is Waterman Florida Blue, now known as Serenité. Here we have the Hero Summer color, also in M. First impression, the Lamy nib is a little bit broader, but that may also be because it's a little bit more saturated, which just makes the line look a bit bigger. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. My experience, I mean, you may be able to hear it from the microphone of the camera. It always picks up nib noise a little bit more than ears generally do. My experience is the Safari is a lot wetter You see that here, right? Lays down a big patch of ink that's just super wet. The Hero is drier, but apart from drier, it's also scratchier. Now that interacts because a pen that is drier will not put as much ink on the paper, will not lubricate the nib as well as you write. But I think overall the nib is a bit scratchier. It's just that simple. Which is not to say that it's a bad nib. I've had a lot worse. But compared to this really nice smoothness of the Lamy, I do notice that. Now one thing that I think Safari does not really have is flex. See, this is a pretty hard nib. That was quite some pressure I exerted. And with this summer color, I cannot do that with Safari, I think. Now this is really a lot of pressure. I don't want to exert any more. And if you compare that to this line width, and you'll see the difference. So the maximum amount of flex or springiness I'd be willing to push out of the Safari is that, without fear of springing my nib. Whereas with the summer color, you basically get a semi-flex nib, I would say. I mean, this really is impressive. This is Namiki Falcon work. So I find that really quite nice. It seems to work well. I also see that I am definitely bending the nib there. So, quite sure the nib was not really meant for that, and we're back in business, so don't worry about it too much. I was really overdoing it here, right? That's excessive pressure. But even in your daily writing, I think you can get a nice bit of line variation out of it. Just a bit of pressure. So that's quite nice. So, winner or loser? Well, just forgetting about the imitation bit, I know that some people feel very strongly that that should never be allowed. Some people say, well, we don't really care, they make a cheaper pen in China, whatever. Just performance-wise, the Safari is my winner. It's smoother, it's wetter. Summer color, fun pen to play with. You get some flex, a little bit of fiddling around. If you do spring the nib because you push down too hard, hey, it's not a huge loss of money. Two nice pens, but for different reasons. And as I said, I have a clear winner. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.